Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching us from. Welcome to today's episode of Sadat HR Digest, where we discuss relevant HR topics that helps us to manage the people we work with, as well as help our organizations achieve their objectives. And whatever we do, we ensure that the bottom line is positively affected. Sedat HR Digest is brought to us by Sedat Consult. You can contact Sedat Consult for all your HR and people needs, and they can be reached on 0244629245, 0244629245. And we are being supported by Quick Face Creatives. Contact them for all your designing and printing needs. You can reach Quick Fix Creatives on 055 209 0057, 055 209 0057. And we want to remind you to share the link and invite your friends and your loved ones to join us in today's episode. We have a very interesting topic to discuss for today. Wherever you are watching us from, we want to duly acknowledge you, and so please drop your name and your location in the comment section. We will read it out to acknowledge you. And if during the course of the discussion you have any clarity you want to seek, or you want to ask any question, or you want to contribute to the discussion, please feel free and drop it in the comment box. We'll read it out for our resource person to help us. And today's topic, we are looking at how HR practitioners can position themselves for growth, impact, and recognition. And we have um, 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 a very important person or a subject matter expert to help us digest and unravel the strategies and the steps as HR people we can take in order for us to grow, to impact, and to gain recognition in whatever we do. He is a familiar face to Sedat HR Digest, and we've hosted him here on several occasions, and he was super. And so we have no doubt that today we are going to enjoy our discussion with our resource person. And so today we will be having our discussion with Mr. Solomon Ohene of Owusu. Mr. Solomon Ohene Owusu. Solomon is the HR director for Wellman Africa International, and he's very resourced, and trust me, you would enjoy today's discussion. If you're an HR person, you have a friend who is into HR, please share the link with them. Let them sign on, let them log in, let them listen to us. Even if you are not an HR practitioner and you are a leader in your organization and you manage people, please tune in, share the link to the people, let them listen to us, and they would learn a lot. And so let me go right to the comment section. We have Michael Kisi. Michael is watching us from Cape Coast. Thank you, Michael, for watching. Zachary is watching us from Kumasi. Thank you, Zach. Samuel says hi, Pat. Sam from Kumasi watching. Thank you, Samuel, so much for tuning in. All right, so let me go straight to bring my guest on, and we will kickstart the conversation. Hi, Solomon.
How are you doing?
Yeah, Solomon, welcome to today's
Yes.
episode of Sedat HR Digest.
Thank you very much, Pat. How are you
And
doing? It's been
I'm
a while,
fine.
and I
Yes,
hope you are
yes,
all good.
yes.
Good, good, good.
I'm very fine, and we always get excited when we know you are coming, because all our sessions with you have been very insightful, and we are very sure that today it would take us to another level. We can't wait to listen to you and to learn from your experience.
Thank you very much for the
Right. And
compliment.
once again, on behalf of the team, we want to say congratulations on your award, winning the National Top Influential HR Business Leader of the Year 2023. And that is the HR Team of the Year in the FMCG category. Congratulations. So that team, we are so proud of you. All your listeners and your viewers, we are proud of you. And we know today you walk us through the path that helped you gain this recognition.
Thank you very much for the compliment once again and then the wishes. And I say that I owe it to my team of young, energetic people who are very diverse and then sharing good ideas with me. So it's an award for me and then my team. Thank you.
All right. Um, people are ready. I'm ready myself, and I believe you are also ready. So we want to go straight into the discussion for today. Now, before we move in, I want to give us an overview of how growth, impact, and recognition mean to the HR professional or practitioner in the corporate environment.
Right. Thank you, Pat, once again, and thanks for the opportunity for me to share at least how we've also been able to grow over the period. So, one thing I'll talk about is I would want us to look at how HR itself had progressed over the years. And you would notice that HR in those days was looked at as personnel management, where they only were doing head counts of people, and then also administration, where they were only, let me say, I always use the word pushing papers. So HR wasn't really in any strategic direction of business. Now that had grown for HR now to sit in the C-suite of businesses to make decisions. But how did this happen? It happened by the evolution of time, evolution of impact that HR leaders took. For example, now HR had been able to impact on business so much so that in areas hitherto which wouldn't have been given to HR or been assigned to HR are now under HR. So let me give a typical example as in finance, payroll. You realize that in the olden times or in the ages that I've talked about, payroll will not sit with finance, will not sit with HR. But now payroll itself sits with HR, and then HR determines what people are paid at the end of every month. And in my organization, for example, finance only credits the account of the banks that we need to credit money into. So everything end to end is done by HR. But this wasn't there. Again, too, on legal side, you realize that now HR has evolved and there are opinions in terms of labor that they would require from HR. So this is how HR has evolved over the period. And for you to show growth as HR person or practitioner, you need to exhibit some of these things to be able to have that credibility that business would want you to have, or business would bring you up to the C-suite. Yeah.
Right. So, how can HR professionals actively seek opportunities to contribute to strategic decision making, positioning themselves as valuable partners in driving the company's growth?
Okay, so with this, I would say that it's about one, how you, the HR, get involved in the business, and then skill development. So, for example, if you want to be seen as a strategic partner to influence business growth, you must understand the business. And things that you should bring out should also be strategic things that would impact on the bottom line of businesses. I had said earlier that businesses in those times were only looking at human resource as persons or positions that only look out for numbers and then do administrative stuff. But now, how do you, as an HR person, speak on issues, give reasons why certain decisions has to be made or be taken, that the business will see the value and the cost implication to it. So when that is done, then it means that you are gaining that credibility. And how do you gain this? By learning the businesses. I have always used the competency framework model of Society for Human Resource Management as a key framework that, as any HR practitioner, you should be able to understand and use. And these, I would not to say that others are not important, but I will single out about three in those areas. One that I look out for is leadership and navigation. Before you will be called to the table, you must show leadership. How do you show leadership? You must be able to speak to issues that impact business in terms of cost. HR is seen as a cost center. So if you go and then they tell you to hire people, and then you are hiring, add this number, and then you are not questioning it, you are not assessing the impact of it to tell business that, okay, can we, instead of hiring a permanent person, do let's say have somebody who would be on contract, or can we decide to rather outsource, because when we hire, these are the total cost to company that will impact business. However, if we decide to outsource, we only pay this and the risk there is limited or mitigated. So these are some of the things that we look out for in order to be the leader, and then in the navigation process that I spoke about. Again, just 1 second, please. I'm told I'm not being heard well. Is it better? Okay, good. So again, the other one is about HR knowledge. So you have, I talked about leadership and navigation. So you bring out different scenarios and outcomes and tell business about the risk involved and then the impact and all. How about the HR knowledge? You cannot be an HR person that there will be discussions and then you will now go and then be referring from books. You cannot be an HR person where they would ask you simple things about maybe issues of labor and you will not understand, and you would want to now go and refer or reference. When you do that, people do not have your buy-in into things that you want to say, because anytime that you say anything, people may have to go back and then check. But when you have the knowledge in HR and you are able to speak in all areas of HR. I'm not saying that you should be somebody that even if you don't understand, you want to speak about it. But if consistently you are seen as somebody who is not able to advocate or speak the HR language, then you cannot be looked at in terms of that position that we are looking at. And then the last one that I'll talk about in terms of this is communication. And in communication, it is one of the competencies, and then the HR, relationship building is, so I'll merge the two because it's communication and relationship. Now, communication, there must be explicit communication flow. Let people understand the need in whatever you are doing. For example, if business decides to take up any initiative, how well do you communicate to people for people to understand? Because it every time it comes in the situation of the HR being in the middle of the employer and then the employee. How do you make sure that the employer understands what you need to do? And how do you make sure that the employee understands what you need to do as well? So I can give a typical example of, say that an employee is looking at leave days. When he takes up his leave, he may end up maybe his position being taken. And I believe you find this thing, especially in the public services, where people will not want to take their leave. And then the business is also looking at it from the point that we don't want to pay people when they haven't taken their leave or when they are leaving. Now, as an HR person, how do you communicate this to business to understand? And how do you communicate this to also the employees? I will tell you that one of the key things you should notice and then do is that you should let employees see it as health issues that are considered in terms of rest. Even in the Bible, they said God rested. So you cannot be working all day, all night, and then all. Business is looking at it that people are not taking their leave, and when they are exiting the business finally, we pay them so higher amount in terms of leave. However, they do overtime. So the overtime cost, how do you explain those things? These are things as HR person you need to communicate to people to understand and get out the real reasons why certain actions should be done. And then the relationship that I spoke about is about putting yourself in a situation where people will know that you, the person, understand their needs and you are in touch with them, and not maybe as an absentee person only trying to push policies into their throat.
Thank you very much, Solomon. So, as HR professionals, if we want to proactively contribute to decision making and make sure that we become valuable business partners to our organizations, then we have to make sure that we are exhibiting great leadership and we are able to navigate through issues, come up with different solutions that solves one issue. Don't just follow, ask questions so you can provide alternative solutions to what needs to be solved. Again, like Solomon mentioned, you need to be a knowledge expert in your field, be a knowledge expert, and then communication and relationship building. Thank you very much, Solomon. Now, before you gave these 3 points, you mentioned that for us to strategically contribute to the organization, it depends on how you get involved and skill development. And so I want to find out from you, what steps can HR practitioners take to expand their skills beyond the traditional functions of HR that can enable them to take on more responsibilities and leadership roles in their companies?
Okay. So the first point, like we've earlier said, is about getting yourself involved. So don't only look at it as an HR person and therefore you are only going to talk about HR. Look at it as a business leader who is like the CEO making decisions for business. So what you need to do is that one, you may get yourself involved in terms of any meetings that you are called into or any projects that you are involved into or you are asked to be part. So for example, when I joined my company, I decided to do a market visit. I'm not a marketing person, I'm not a salesperson, but I did that to understand the challenges that people are facing on the field. So that when they are telling you certain things, you at least have the knowledge and you understand them. And in so doing, when the sales manager comes to me and then we are talking, I understand him and he gets the result that he requires from me. He will then put me out there to say that, oh, Solomon understands me and Solomon will get the result from me. The same vein is you looking out for opportunities to be involved. So let me give my self as an example when I started with HR. When I started HR, I took up a role as a recruitment and placement officer. But then I realized that there were opportunities for me to develop as a generalist because for you to get to the leadership position as an HR person, you shouldn't only be a specialist. You need to be a generalist who has at least knowledge on all the areas of HR. So when it comes to leave management, I'll pick it up and do. When it comes to recruitment, I do. When it comes to compensation benefit, I put myself in there. Normal HR operations, I also involve myself in. And then the other thing I did was beyond what I was doing in the office, I looked at closing time at 5 and I said, okay, we close at 5, but I would have to take a car from 5 and spend about 2 hours on the road to get home. So instead of doing that, internet access was free. Let me go online, check on any HR issues to be abreast with modern trends, best practices, so that when I come to the table and I'm speaking only theoretical, but it is what is being done. So that now I would have the opportunity to practice what I'm talking about, and that would broaden my knowledge, that will increase me in terms of what I was doing. And in fact, it helped. I also took on projects that were not even in line with HR. For example, we talk about let's say health work. We are doing maybe activations and all. I took all those things up and did. And in when it happened like that, I became the spotlight. People saw me, people identified me, and then people now would go to you. So you become the go-to person when there are activities, and that would help you to not only be an HR person. Because one thing we should also notice that if tomorrow there isn't HR role or position for you, and business want to make a decision, can you be considered for any other area apart from the HR role that you played? Hi, Patricia.
Yeah, Solomon, right,
Yes,
right.
sorry, sorry. Yeah.
So thank you so much. So if you're an HR person, you should know that you cannot get stuck with the normal functions of or traditional functions of HR and expect to be recognized or expect to grow. You need to go beyond. And like Solomon has shared with us, um, don't just talk HR, talk business. So
Business. Yeah.
seek to understand the business, seek to know what goes into the business, and that helps you to grow beyond the traditional functions of HR. Again, I'm happy Solomon is sharing with us practical things that he did to grow. And so he mentioned that he goes online to read. All right, and that will lead me to my next question that I was about to ask him. He goes online, he reads about current issues or current trends on HR topics to get knowledge, and then also he made sure he took on projects that were not necessarily HR related. You don't only have to upgrade or grow in HR, seek to go beyond what you do. Thank you very much, Solomon. Now, talking about going online to read on topical HR matters, I want you to help us on some of the steps that we can take as practitioners to understand or to stay updated on industry best practices and also on emerging trends, positioning us as knowledgeable and forward thinking experts. I don't know if my question is clear. Hi, Solomon.
All right.
Is my
Yes,
question clear?
patience. Yes, I heard you. Yes, yes, I heard you. Yeah, thank you. There was a little break, but it's fine. So for me, the very first thing is what we are doing now. And I must comment, said that when my good friend Patricia decided to take this direction, you would always have to have someone who is bold enough to say that I want to develop people. And that is what Patricia has set out to do. With this, you get knowledge. So you listen, you go for trainings, you go for conferences, because those are places that you can network, you can get new ideas, you can get problems solved. Because, for example, if you are in a training program, there, that is the place that you realize that people in different organizations or different companies have different problems that some may also be similar to yours. So when you have knowledge experts giving advice or giving direction in that area, it is something that you pick it. If you read from books, yes, it is good. You can read from books, but at times you need practical people or persons to be able to tell you that this situation, this is what I did. You can read all the things you need, but if you don't also go for trainings to get, let's say, hands-on practical knowledge on it, it becomes a difficult thing. Now on conferences, HR conferences, HR programs, and all, those are areas that you could also network yourself as a person. Because when you get people, you find yourself among people who are knowledgeable, definitely it will transfer to you. And that is one thing that I have capitalized on in my HR career. I always make sure that anytime I've been out there for any HR program, at least I make one or two new friends that I never knew, whether in my industry or in different industry, to seek their opinions and guidance in terms of anything that I would do. So these are things that I would say that for anyone to really develop in HR, you need to look out for.
Right. So for anyone to develop in HR, you need to look out for um, some of these things or what Solomon has said. Seek for knowledge. Seek for knowledge. Attend conferences, and that's where you meet people, you network, and when you are in need or you want somebody to help you out or you want to learn something, you want to share something, you always will have someone to go to and someone to communicate to. On this note, I want to remind all our team in Kumasi that the HR conference or Sadat HR conference will be happening live this year. And as part of what Solomon said, you need to seek knowledge, listen from the experts, learn from the expert trainings. And so this year, on the 19th of October 2023, from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., we will be having the Maiden HR conference in Kumasi, Sadat HR conference in Kumasi. And trust me, it's a place to learn, it's a place to network. We'll be sharing the flyers, we'll share the link for registration with you so that you can register. If you are in Kumasi, you are anywhere close to Kumasi, you find your way on the 19th of October to the HR, Sadat HR conference. We will communicate the venue later, but we are all going to be there. All of us are going to be there to learn, to network. And I believe that as we do this, we would learn a lot. We'll be able to build our skills because we have Dr. Stella coming, Kojo Emisa will be there. I mean, we have Yvonne coming, we have Cynthia. These are experts in the HR field, and I believe they will share a lot with us. So you don't want to miss out on this conference. We will share details, especially the venue, later with you. But for now, it is happening on the 19th of October at Kumasi. And so we'll share the link with you. Please get in touch with us. You can contact us on 0244629245, for more information on this. I believe so strongly that is going to be a very insightful and a very impactful seminar, and so you wouldn't want to take yourself out of this. We just lost our resource person. I'm sure he will get connected and then get back to us. So whilst we wait for him to join us, we will take the short break, and I believe by the time we are back, he would have fixed his network, and we would continue with our discussion. If you just join us, this is Sadat HR Digest, and we will be right back. All right, welcome back from the break. This is Sadat HR Digest, and we are discussing or we are talking about how HR practitioners or professionals can position ourselves for growth. impact, and to recognition. Our guest is Solomon Ohini Owusu, sorry, Solomon Ohini Owusu. Solomon is the HR director for Wellma Africa International, and we've had insightful discussions so far. We want to continue with our conversation on our subject for today, and so I want to go straight to Solomon. Solomon, welcome back. We lost you.
Thank you. Yes, yes, yes.
All right. So I want to find out from you, how can HR leaders identify and prioritize areas within their expertise or within their organization where their expertise can have the most significant impact on employee satisfaction, productivity, and the overall success of the organization?
Okay, great. So I'll look at it from the employer position and then the employee position. The first thing one has to do as an HR person in a business is you identify areas that need to be looked at or worked on. Many a times when HR leaders get into new positions, they are quick to speak and then either, let me, for want of a better word, condemn what has been done before or what is there now. But one thing I would say we have to do to make impact is first of all be data driven. And when I say data driven, you cannot do anything without having data. So you get into an organization or a position, or even if you are in an organization and you want to look at issues within the organization, the first point is have data as to what has been the issues or what has been the processes or what has been the cause. And when you have that data, then you should sit down, analyze it, and look at what you can do to resolve those issues to make impact. So, on the employer side, let me look at a typical example of cost in overtime. So, the employer says that I have so much overtime that I need to look at and then reduce, or that is what HR has identified based on payroll. So, you see that employees have a lot of overtime and all. Because HR has moved now and in strategic position, you must be able to make a case that will reflect or result in an outcome that saves cost to business. So, what I would look out for you to do, and I have done it personally in my area as well, is one, you look out for the various departments or areas that the overtimes are more. What are the real causes of those overtime? Are they really genuine overtime and all? When you have identified this, now you sit with top management, look at it. What must be the processes in overtime? So now we put out policy processes to follow when you want to approve of overtime. We have a cap to it that if anything is beyond that, it should not be considered. When you have done this, what will show is that it will reduce automatically the overtime costs that you have been experiencing in the past. And that will show impact of you, HR person, on business. Again, for the employee side of things, yes, you may have a lot of issues that employee may talk about, but the key thing you need to put out there is to have a survey with your employees to identify areas that are concerns to them, that are of concerns to them. And then when those areas have been identified, you prioritize them according to the data that you have. So one area that we did with our survey was that employees talked about incentives or recognition. Let me say recognition, that they are not recognized when they achieve results or they've been able to do new things. And it became clear in a lot of responses that we had. So what we then needed to do was that, okay, we should find a way to incentivize people or show people or motivate employees, because we say that motivation would make people feel good and then also help them to do more. So one of the areas we considered was that, okay, if you are talking about motivation or recognition, we would have to now align it with our corporate values. So our core values as a business was now set out to be the parameters for which we would want to recognize people. So that, and I can give a clear one example where we had a fire incident. And because people wanted to be recognized, everybody rushed to want to extinguish the fire. We ended up spending about 3 hours instead of about, let's say, 15, 20 minutes that we would have spent on the fire. Immediately, what we decided was that no, yes, we would want to recognize people, but let us rather have specific people who will do such things. So we quickly put out fire wardens that we trained through the National Fire Service, had trainings for them, series of training for them, and now they are the go-to person for fire. Now, when they extinguish fire and we feel that they have been able to do it well, we look out for how it was done to recognize. Again, on another incentive that we talked about, we have pegged with our values in the sense that when the result had been achieved, we ask ourselves, we have value of integrity. Was that act done out of integrity? Was that exhibited? And you, the head, must justify. If it is about, let's say, teamwork, did I do it alone or I involve team to do it? So we use all these things to let employees also know that regardless of how we want to make impact, we want to be measured based on tangible things and to show business that we are indeed making business input which are more, let me say, more tangible or quantitative than qualitative.
Right. Thank you very much, Solomon. And so, as HR people, let's not be quick to judge. Make sure that you identify the areas that needs attention and be data driven so that when you are able to solve the issue, they will see the tangibility of the impact you have made. All right. So Solomon, we have a question here from Zachary. We are talking about HR growth, impact and recognition, but we have a question on leave. We have a question on leave here. So Zachary is asking, is it mandatory? Is it mandatory to pay leave entitlement to stay? I'm sure he wants to write to staff who resign from a company. Is it mandatory to pay leave entitlement to staff who resign from a company?
Yes, Zachary, it is mandatory by law because when you look at the Labor Act, it says that an employee must have leave for every year that they work, and the minimum number of leave days is 15. But some businesses give more days, so some would have 20, 30, and all. What it is that the business, if the person doesn't take the leave, the business must pay the person off for that leave that he has earned or accrued over the period. Now, there's been a lot of talk about company having policies that your leave must be would be what's it called written off if you do not take it in the following year, blah 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 blah. Yes, companies write those policies for cost purposes, and how do you administer it? So that is where the leave management will come in. When you look at leave management, number one, as an employer or an HR person, you must be able to identify or know the leave for everybody at the beginning of the year. So we send out leave roster for heads of department for their employees to indicate which day or month in the year they would want to take up their leave days because the leave days are end days. Now, when those are done, we as HR go to the people to alert them when their date is almost due, and this is done 2 weeks to the time to let us know that are you ready or willing to take your leave that you have indicated to us on our roster that you want to take. Now, if we go and we tell you the employee and you do not take that leave, then the policy that we have set out can work because at the end of the day, we have given you that room to take the leave. But whereas maybe your boss says that no, I cannot let the person go because he's doing project A or project B, all those leave days are accrued and earned. And when you decide to resign from a business, that has to be calculated and paid to you in cash.
All right, thank you very much, Solomon. Zachary, I hope you are answered. We have another question here from Kofi. Is it Ajin? All right. So Kofi said, well said. But I have a question in going beyond HR. It's a situation I find myself in going beyond HR. I have worked in my career as an HR person, and along my career, I decided to explore more, though not related to what I have been doing as an HR. I had a second degree in another field, but anytime I am called for an interview in HR role, this question pops up. Why did you decide to study an MBA in? Otherwise, I guess he wants to be confidential about the field. And the interesting thing is, they don't believe you when you tell them the truth. They find you to be so, Kofi, you're so, I don't know what word to put in there for you guys. I
But
think,
patience, Kofi Ajin, maybe we can have a separate conversation on this, but just to
yeah,
shed a little light, what I'll tell you is that every business would want to have people study courses or trainings that are related in the job that they are performing. So, even in, I'll speak to your issue, but let me just give a typical example of trainings that organizations do. In your appraisals, you realize that you have your individual developmental goals that you need to set for yourself. If I decide here tomorrow that I want to become a pilot, and in my individual goal, I put out there that I want to be trained to become a pilot, the first thing the business will ask is that what relation has that got to do with my role as an HR or the business itself? Number two, if I decide to go and do anything to say that, okay, I want to change career, we have career switch and all, then it must be clear. But where you have a program that is totally different from what you have, your career path, and you are not able to speak to the reason why you study that program and link it to your current role, then people may look at you because in every career progression, one age is looked at. For example, if the position is an entry level position and they want to have you with your new course that you have done, one will say that, okay, if this person is this age, how long can I train him to move to the next level of that business and all? What you have studied would usually help when you are in the same business and you want to switch careers within the business and you say that, okay, I've gone to now study marketing and therefore this. But let me share this advice that for HR people and even any other person having any program to study, please let it link to your career path that you want to go. I advise a lot of people that I counsel or I mentor that some will come to me. Oh, Solomon, I want to go and do it. I have my degree in HR. I have done my um, um, what's it called? I've done my professional certification in HR. I want to go and do masters. Can I do HR? I said, you have done all these things. Now business are becoming strategic. Why not look at something like finance? Because HR people hitherto are being looked as people who are not figures oriented or cannot do analysis, right? So now go do finance or accounting so that when you come and you are talking about numbers, you'll be able to speak to it and make valuable decisions. And people will not throw numbers at you and you'll be sitting down. So let us always wait and then see that whatever we want to do or whatever career we want to do or the program we want to do is linked to the current thing that we are doing, unless we want to do a total career switch, which we should be able to also speak about or decide. Thank you.
all right. Thank you very much, Solomon. I believe Kofi is listening, and so he will get in touch with us. Zachary says, "Thank you, sir. Thank you to Zachary. I guess Solomon has explained the leave very well." And then Seidu says he's watching us from Wa. He says, "I always make sure I join this program every Sunday. It has positioned me well in the corporate world." Thank you very much. And that is all that Said that HR Digest seeks to achieve. We want to make sure that we give you enough training or enough information to position you well wherever you find yourself so that you can work to satisfaction, or you can work up to standard. Now, Solomon, let's now move to some of the strategies that HR professionals or HR practitioners can employ to proactively promote their department achievements and impact both internally and externally. Because you realize that a lot of times we do a lot of things, we achieve a lot, but how to promote it becomes a challenge for some people. What strategies can we deploy to help us promote what we do as HR practitioners?
Okay, so I'll say two things here. One, employer brand proposition, and then two, employee brand proposition. So the employer brand proposition will be more towards your external people, and then the employee brand proposition will be more towards your internal people. So you take, for example, your onboarding processes. How do you do your onboarding? Have it in such a way that everyone would want to choose you as an employer of choice to come to, because what you do in there is what the people in will speak to the outside world. So, in order to make sure that you position yourself well as a business and have it linked to your internal people, when you do that, your onboarding must be one. You must have situations of town hall meetings where you sit with employees. We do it quarterly to let employees know about what is going on in the business, new policies that we are putting up, issues that are of concerns to employees to also share their views and opinions on. So when you do that, it gives them a buy-in, and it gives you the buy-in as well on every issue that you want to deal with or you want to talk about. Again, one thing we have done in terms of communication is that we have a Dropbox that we have allocated in the various shop floors for employees to share their communication with us, regardless whether it's an HR activity, whether it's an information that you want to pass and all, so that at every time we get to know what is on their mind. One, we also get to know, and we also support them in terms of requisitions that they want to do, and it even saves man hours, because instead of people walking from the shop floor to HR, they just drop in their thing, and we have HR business partners going there to pick and then coming to let us work on it. The other one we would want to talk about is about letting employees know what their issues are, and the solutions you brought and how it has impacted on them. So we created something that we say, you said, we did. So whatever you have brought forward to us or you have complained about and we've been able to do, we just have it in a short design, and then we share out to employees. So, for example, maybe you said our lunch time is late. We've been able to resolve it. We tell you that we said we did, and then we now indicate. We said there wasn't much incentive for employees. We've been able to do that, so we put it out there that you said we did. And then on the external, the employer branding, how do you reach out to people outside? So you do visitations to universities, schools, to let them know and understand your business and what you do for your employees, so that in order to get your talent pipeline filled with the best and not just any like that. So these are some of the strategies I think we have been able to implement internally and externally to get us the leverage that we have as a business and position HR to as a strategic partner to business.
Wow, thank you very much, Solomon. So, Solomon has given us two main strategies that we can use as HR people to promote what we do, promote the achievements, promote what we do as HR people within our departments, right? And he spoke about the employer proposition and the employee proposition, where you are looking at it from both internal and external. You want to enhance your employee proposition and your employer proposition so that people would know the good things that exist within your company or the good things you are doing. So they would love to work with you and choose you as their employer. And the people within, how are you serving them? What are you doing to help them? All these things are things that you need to do. And he spoke about having town hall meetings, communicating what you have done or what the HR department has done, letting them know what is yet to be done, and then getting their contributions, get their buy-in, and by doing so, you end up having it, and you won't struggle at all. I mean, once they get to know what you are doing, the recognition will come by itself. Thank you very much, Solomon. So, you have already mentioned or spoken about networking during seminars and other, but I want you to throw more light on this. How does or what role does networking play in HR professionals' journey in gaining recognition? And how can they build meaningful connections among colleagues, mentors, and industry players? And that is very important. So it is not just about networking, but building meaningful connections.
So, again, let me just use myself as a practical example and some of the people that I reach out to. Going to programs, listening to radio and all, there were times that what I do, and even for my first job that I had, what I did was there wasn't anything. I was looking at completing university, looking to do internship because as part of our graduation, you have to use your second semester to do internship. So I just went online, Googled companies, and then tried to see if I can get one. Did letters to be sent to those companies. But one thing I did was I researched on the HR person that I was going to meet in the organization. So when I got there and I told them that I was looking for this man, I was told, do you have an appointment with him? I said no, but when you tell him that this person from this place is coming to see him, I'm sure he would allow me to come. So indeed, it worked for me. And then when I went in and I started a conversation with the person, I did not only talk about the fact that I'm bringing my letter for, what's it called, internship, but I spoke a bit about him. That, oh, you are this man, I have read on you, I've seen the things that you are doing, I've linked myself to what you are doing, and when I looked at it, I think you are somebody that I can learn from. So I would want you to give me that shot to study ABCD under you. In fact, I'm not saying that it's just an easy like that. So when we spoke, he was surprised. So he asked me, okay, so if you said you went on this, what and what did you see? Then he started asking me questions. And I had read about the company, what they made last year, everything. Just in 2 weeks, he called me and then he says he's giving me the internship opportunity. In the course of it, my asking of questions, contribution and all in the business led me to national service. And then it moved on, and I became like a full-time employee. So you realize that when you have the networking with people, and one key thing I also realized, I made mistakes in the way because I remember a time that I called one man, big man in Ghana, I wouldn't mention the name, and I was having an assignment and I didn't understand it well, and I wanted to ask him for his clarification. And the way I went about it, he didn't like it, and he asked me, "Am I the one to do your school work for you?" I said, "No, sir. This is what I want." He said, "No, that is for you to research and come to me, so that when you are coming, you are tabling your ideas." So that we can have a conversation. So in networking, make sure that you do not go to people only to ask them to build or give you from scratch. Have something in hand and then go to them, and also watch the way you link or you interact with those people. Because if it is for business networking, please talk about business, talk about work related issues, and don't put in other things that will let those network look at you as maybe an opportunist. So that is what I'll say.
Right. Make sure that your networks do not see you as an opportunist. We have one question for Solomon. Once we are done,
Patience. Sorry,
sure.
let me just say one thing that I always also tell my staff that I work with. One key thing you should have in trying to network is about resilience, because you will not get it easy walking up to people. One thing I always say is that, okay, so if I go and I try to catch a conversation with you, or I try to let you support me and you don't have time for me, what happens? I wouldn't be down. I'll see it as another step for me to look at how I'll prepare myself to rather meet the next person that I'll meet. So resilience is very key. A lot of times people are even afraid, oh, how do I contact patients? How do I contact Solomon? How do I see this person? But know that yes, in as much as the person may be overloaded with work and all, yes, you may get some turn downs and all, but have the resilience to say that yes, I am down, but because of where I want to go, I'm getting myself up to push ahead.
Right, have the spirit of resilience to be able to network. I remember I attended a conference, and this HR professional that I admire so much, and I haven't spoken to her before. And at the conference after the break, I just walked to her. I said, "My name is so and so." Introduced myself, and I just told her how I admire her. I want to learn from her and all that. And if I, for some reason, I just took my card. I said, "This is my card. I want to learn from you." And I mean, since then, she's been so helpful to me. You may not have it easy with others because there are some people you meet them and child, they wouldn't even want to look at you twice. I believe it's because of how some people have networked or connected wrongly with them. So they want to be careful. So, like Solomon said, you need to be very mindful of how you connect with a person. As much as you are being resilient, you should also know how to connect. And that is why you don't have to, they said now, it is not, you don't have to be only emotionally intelligent, but you need to be connectionally intelligent. You should be very intelligent on how you connect with people. Thank you so much, Solomon. And I want to ask you one last question, and then we would move on to our last activity today. We have a very short activity to do once we are done with this, and so I want to find out from you, how can HR practitioners or professionals build a good brand for themselves?
I will again talk about the Society for Human Resource Management framework, competency framework. To be able to build a brand for yourself, you must be seen as having business acumen, having relationship, communication, leadership, and all. A lot of times, HR people sit at the back, and when questions are asked, they are not able to answer. HR people go to meetings and they are not even prepared for whatever meeting they have been into, because when they are going, the mindset is that I'm only dealing with people issue, or I'm only dealing with human resources issues. What as HR people we need to look out for is that as I am coming in, what have I prepared myself with in terms of humans? What have I prepared myself with in terms of business? What have I prepared myself with in terms of the bottom line or the result that the business want to achieve? So you come with data. You must be data driven and not what's it called? Qualitative. Qualitative is there, but you must also be quantitative to say that these were the numbers that we had this time. These are the numbers we have now, and this is what I am saying that we should do. Because when we do ABCD, this is the impact that it will bring. So To position yourself well, you must one learn and build on those competencies. Because if you do not build on those competencies, even how to build a relationship with the top management, because it's not easy to get things done. I remember in one of my companies, when I get one result, it becomes a serious joy for me because I know before I go the response that I will get. So build that business acumen in such a way that when you are going with something, and even when you are turned down, you feel good about yourself that in fact I built this way, but business is not ready to take up that solution or that advice that I am giving. So that is what I would say to how the HRs can position themselves to make the impact that is needed in the business.
All right, thank you very much, Solomon. Learn, build on your competence. Learn, build on your competence. And you notice that throughout the conversation we are having with Solomon, these two things keep coming up: learning and then building on your competence, learning and building on your competence. So it should tell you that it's something that you really, really need to do if you want to grow, if you want to impact your organization, and if you want to be recognized. These are some of the things that you don't want to joke with. Thank you so much, Solomon. It's been very wonderful and interesting having you. Very insightful. We learn every day when we meet you. We learn all the time, and for some of us, we are fortunate to even keep learning. After sets, we keep learning from you. Thank you so much. You're a great inspiration for to some of us, and we know that as you move higher, you will share more with us, so we can also move higher as well. Now, we want to take your final comments, and then we can draw the curtains for today's.
Okay. Yeah, so I would want to tell my fellow HR colleagues that HR is evolving, and to get a seat at the table, you must be strategic, you must be knowledgeable, and you must be data driven. Because if you don't have the numbers, you always be thrown out. If you are not strategic, you will always be thrown out. And if you are not knowledgeable, you always be thrown out. So what I would say is that starting gradually, make sure that you always equip yourself with the needed knowledge. And we've spoken about trainings, we've spoken about conferences, we've spoken about even breakfast meetings and all. Go to your business. For example, if you have you are in a construction field, be able to mingle with the people to understand what they do, so that you can be able to give them the solutions or responses that they need. So these will be my summary to say that one, have knowledge, always try learn, have the business acumen, and then build your relationships, and then stand out as a leader. Join projects, any project at all. Just put yourself into it and join. In the course of doing it, you will learn something that will either impact or reflect on your HR activities. And I would want to see an HR fraternity in Ghana that are making so much impact that we are not seen as the personal managers of old age. Thank you.
Why, thank you very much, Solomon. Learn. It's all about learning. All right. So, thank you so much for joining us today. Wherever you watched us from, we are very grateful. This is Sadat HR Digest. And before we end our episode for today, we want to introduce or bring on board a very special person um, to perform a very short task for us. And when she's done, we'll bring the curtains to, or we draw the curtains on today's episode. So I'm so excited to invite and then bring online my super sponsor, the CEO of Sedat Consult, Patricia Kisi. Thank you, Patricia, for sponsoring Sedat HR Digest. We are very much grateful to you. You have never withdrawn your sponsorship, and that shows how passionate you are when it comes to developing and building people and sharing knowledge. Thank you so much. And by the way, you are looking
Thank you. Thank you. Straight from church. Thank you so much. Thank you. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are watching us from. Thank you so much for being a part of today's episode of HR Digest. It's always a joy and a privilege to always come your way every Sunday with the HR Digest. But beyond the HR Digest, I know some of you have been talking to me. Oh, when are we going to have a physical meeting? When are we going to have a physical conference and all that? Well, by the special grace of God, we are bringing you the HR conference. DAP Sedat HR conference is happening in Kumasi on the 19th of October 2023. And we have carefully selected industry experts. When it comes to the HR space, we have gurus, we have experts who are always willing to share their experiences with us. We have a lineup of wonderful people. We have Dr. Stella Ejenin Boateng, who has graciously accepted to be part of this conference. We have Kojo Emisa. We have my own very sister, Cynthia. We have Cynthia, and then we have Abubakar Kwame Suman. We have Yvonne, who has been here several times. And we are bringing you this conference because, as part of our commitment to contributing to your development as an HR person, and also to ensure that the right platform is created for you to, first of all, learn from the experts, from the people who have walked the path that you want to walk on, and they have learned a lot. You don't need to really experience some of the things they have experienced to learn, but then you can learn from them to shorten your learning curve. And that is the purpose of the HR conference. We are bringing them so that we can learn from them. They can share their experiences with us, and then also network, because you can't do it all by yourself. You need, and I was glad when Solomon said this. And it's something that he's been practicing, and it's something that all of us have been practicing, and it's helping us a lot. Network, connect with the people, learn from people, share, get experience from people, and then grow on your journey to becoming the kind of HR professional that you want. So this is for me to formally, I know you've heard about it, but to formally not launch the HR conference and open the floodgate for registrations. And this is a free conference, and we made it free because we don't want anybody to have an excuse not to be part of it. So it's a free conference, you don't pay anything. But the people that we are bringing are so loaded that if you were to pay and if they were to charge you, I'm sure we wouldn't be able to. So this is for us to all, not to exclude anybody, but for all of us to learn and to network. And we also have special guests of honor who have graciously accepted to be part of this conference. We have Honorable Professor Kingsley Nyako, who is the MP for Kwadaso in Kumasi. It's happening in Kumasi, and so we are getting people, MPs who are in Kumasi, to support us. And we also have Honorable Muntaka Mohammed, also the MP for Asawasi constituency in Kumasi, being our guest of honor. They have accepted to be there, and they have a lot to share with us. And so let's all make it a point, if you are in Kumasi or around, or Greater Kumasi, yeah. So for Greater Kumasi, we have the people in Obuasi, people in Sinyane, all of you around Kumasi. It's a central location, so you have no excuse. It's going to be a full day packed conference. We'll have keynote addresses from our speakers. We'll have workshops, and the workshops will run concurrently. So you select which workshop you want to participate in. We have a panel discussion. There will also be opportunity for live mentoring and coaching. So once you come there, there will be experts there. If you want to talk to them, share anything with them to help you direct you or guide you on your path to success, people will be there to assist you. And then also for those who are students, you have opened it up for students as well, because we think that if you come here and then you see and hear what is happening in the space of HR, at least when you go back to school, you are able to indeed pick up from there, and then, you know, put a kind of flesh to the theory that you have, because practice sometimes is different from the theory, but theory forms the basis for the practice. So once you have the theory and then you listen to the industry experts, professionals in HR, you really, really do yourself a lot of good, and that will help you to start your journey right. So let me formally say that we have opened up the opportunity to register. We will share the registration link with you on our various platforms, WhatsApp platforms. We also have the conference website. We'll also share the conference website with you. You can go there, learn more about our speakers, about our guests of honor, and then also learn more about how you can register and be part of this program. Please, you have no excuse. So don't miss this opportunity. Don't miss it. You don't pay anything. And when you come, you'll be well fed. It's a full day program. So you'll be well fed. So don't worry. You won't go hungry. And we'll make sure that you are well catered for. And then for me, the most important thing is for you to learn. The most important thing is for you to learn. The theme for this conference is transforming HR, innovation, technology, and future trends. Innovation, technology, and future trends, transforming HR. If you've been following the recent trends or in HR, you realize that HR is going beyond the normal. So we need to find out how we can position ourselves using technology to drive the impact I want to make within our organizations. So thank you so much for being a part of this discussion today. And I formally invite you to register to be part of the SEDAT HR Conference 2023 in Kumasi. The SEDAT team, I want to take the opportunity to thank you all for putting together this program. And I want to thank our speakers who have graciously accepted to be part of the conference. Thank you so much. We know how busy you are, but you've committed to making this conference a success, and I really do not take it for granted. And a special thanks to our honorables, Honorable Professor Kingsley Nyakun, MP for Kwadaso, and Honorable Muntaka Mohammed, MP for Asawasi constituency, for accepting to be part of this. And let me also take this opportunity to invite Corporate Ghana to partner with us. This is free, and so we will need your support to make this a success. We have sent out some invitation letters, some sponsorship letters to some organizations. Please partner with us. If you have not received one yet, and you are interested in partnering with us, please reach out to us on 0244 629245. 0244 629245. If you are on the call and you think your organization is positioned to support, to partner with us to make this happen, please reach out to us. Thank you very much. On this note, I formally declare the HR conference registration open. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Patricia. That said that HR conference 2023 is officially open. You have the registration link posted in the comment section. Click on it, start registering. If you live in Kumasi or around Kumasi, you want to find your way to this conference, and you would never regret it. You would never regret it. And Patricia, I want to say, if there are individuals who also wish to sponsor, I believe they have the opportunity to sponsor as well. Yet,
Yes,
so we are
yes,
not only
yes,
looking at
definitely.
corporate institutions, but if you're an individual, you want to sponsor us, it's a free event. We are going to be there the whole day. We won't want you to go hungry. We are going to feed you both with knowledge and give you something to nourish the body. And so, if you're an individual, you want to support us, thank you so much in advance. God bless you. We are ready to receive you. You can also call us on 0244 629245, 0244 629245. And the support can be in cash and in kind. And so please feel free to sponsor us. And your contribution to the impact that HR conference will make in the lives of future HR professionals, you would never regret it. You would never regret it. And I hope The people of Accra are also asking when are we going to have our 10. It will definitely come to Accra. This time we are starting from Kumasi. It will definitely come to Accra. Thank you so much, Patricia. Thank you, Solomon. It's been
Thank you.
good having the two of you, and we hope that this conference would yield its impact. And trust me, even with said that HR Digest alone, we can see the impact it's making on others. So we are very sure that this conference would give us more than what we are even receiving on said that HR Digest. Please try make your way there. Let's learn from industry experts. Let's learn. So that Patricia said it will shorten your learning curve. You don't have to go through all the mistakes they did before you get to their turn. They will show you the mistakes and let you go out of it so that your route will be shorter than theirs. Thank you very much. Kofi says, wow, looking up to this conference. Thank you, Sedat Consult. Thank you very much. Kofi Patricia says, will there be an online option, please? I guess the team will discuss and then let us know if there will be an online option for those who may not be able to visit or who may not be able to attend the conference in person. So the team will discuss. I'm sure once Patricia is here, she will pass on the information and then they will look at how best to help those of us in Accra who may not be able to travel, but we still want to benefit from the conference. Thank you so much for coming. And we want to remind you, we'll share the link to this conversation after we are done. Please make time to listen to it again. Share the link with your friends. Like and comment on all our social media handles. We are on LinkedIn, we are on Facebook, we are on YouTube. Please share, comment. Like, and recently I went on Patricia's page on YouTube to listen to some of the old things she's taught over there. She doesn't know I'm telling her this. I was like, wow. So please, when you go, don't only look out for said that HR Digest. When you are done listening, please look out for Patricia's link. I think HR Clinic or something. Yes, HR Clinic, and you will learn a lot, a lot. Aside HR Digest, there are lots of things she's put out there, and it will help you. You never know where you will need this knowledge, and so it's very important. Like Solomon said, let's keep learning. Let's learn so we can build our competence, build up our skills, develop ourselves enough, and that will position us for growth. It will position us for impact, and it will position us for recognition. This is Sedat HR Digest, and it was brought to us by Sedat Consult and Quick Fix Creators. We will see you next week with another relevant topic, and you don't want to miss next week's show. Thank you. Have a good evening and enjoy your week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.